At 3:30 in the morning, a performance coach walked into an empty gym. He'd shown up 90 minutes early on purpose. He wanted the superstar to see him there first, to see that he was serious. The gym wasn't empty. He could hear a ball bouncing before he got through the door. Kobe Bryant was already soaked through, already an hour into a warm-up that hadn't officially started yet. That's the story everyone tells when they want to explain what discipline looks like. Kobe doesn't crack the top 5 on this list. There's a version of discipline most people can picture. Early alarm, cold gym, someone doing the boring thing on the day they don't feel like it. That's the bottom of this ladder. Because above it, there's a level where discipline stops being a habit and becomes an entire architecture. Every meal, every hour of sleep, every relationship arranged around one number. And above that is something most people don't have a word for. 10 athletes. Each one goes further than the last. Somewhere on this list is the ceiling of what a human body will agree to do. Let's find out where it is. Number 10, Cristiano Ronaldo. Start here because Ronaldo is the one everybody already knows about. And he's the floor. He doesn't sleep once. He sleeps 5 times. 5 90-minute blocks, spaced through the day, each one a full sleep cycle, because a coach once told him fragmenting sleep this way preserves recovery better than one long night. He's been doing it for over a decade. Around it, the ice baths, the cryotherapy chamber he installed at home, the teammates who've described watching him refuse dessert at a team dinner, and then go do extra work after everyone else went to bed. Into his 40s, his measured body fat has stayed in single digits, a number that, for most professional footballers, is a career peak figure, not a career long one. Here's why he's number 10. Ronaldo's discipline buys him one thing. He doesn't decline. It's maintenance at an extraordinary level, but it's maintenance. The next 9 aren't maintaining anything, they're paying. Number 9, Novak Djokovic. In 2010, Djokovic kept collapsing mid-match, breathing problems, bodies giving out in the 5th set. The reigning theory was that he was mentally soft. The actual answer turned out to be in his diet, and once he found it, he did something that sounds simple and is almost impossible. He removed a food group and never went back. No gluten, then no dairy, then for long stretches, effectively no sugar at all. A professional athlete traveling to a different country every week, eating in a different city every 3 days for 15 years, saying no. He's described tasting a piece of chocolate for the first time in years and putting the rest down. Add the rest of the architecture, the breathing work, the daily meditation, the stretching routine that runs longer than most people's entire workout. Ronaldo builds something in, Djokovic takes something away and keeps it away for a decade and a half. Subtraction is harder, but it's still a system a normal person could describe. At number 8, the system starts eating the life around it. Number 8, Tom Brady. Brady was the 199th pick, 6th round. Slow, gangly, unremarkable arm. Nobody at that combine thought they were looking at the greatest quarterback who'd ever live, so he made a trade that lasted 23 seasons. The food list is the famous part. No nightshades, no white sugar, no white flour, almost no dairy, and for years, no coffee. But the food is the small half. The bigger half is that he went to bed at 8:30 at night, not in the playoffs, always. Into his 40s, while his teammates half his age went out, Brady was asleep. He gave up his 20s, his 30s, and most of his 40s for bedtime, and it worked. He was still playing at 45, at a position where 35 is usually the exit.
But notice what's happening as we climb. Ronaldo optimizes his body. Djokovic controls his intake. Brady surrenders his calendar. Number 7 surrenders her childhood. Number 7, Simone Biles. She started at 6 years old. By her teens, she was training around 32 hours a week, the equivalent of a full-time job, held down by a child, on top of school, for years without a real off-season. Gymnastics has a cost profile most sports don't. Every one of those hours is spent doing things that can end you in a single bad landing. She has skills named after her, moves nobody else in the world will attempt, and each one was built through thousands of repetitions of a movement that punishes error with a spinal injury. Then there's the part that belongs on a discipline list more than any of it. At the Tokyo Olympics, with the whole thing in front of her, her spatial awareness failed mid-air, the twisties, and she stopped. Discipline is usually framed as the ability to override the body. Biles is here because she demonstrated the rarer version, knowing precisely which signal you cannot override. Everyone above her on this list ignored that signal. Number 6, Kobe Bryant. Now we come back to the 4 a.m. story, and to the reason it's more brutal than it sounds. Kobe didn't pick 4 a.m. because it sounded hard. He picked it because of arithmetic. He laid it out himself. Wake at 3, train 4 to 6, home, eat, rest. Back at it 9 to 11, again 2 to 4. Again 7 to 9, 4 training sessions in a day, where the professional standard was 2. Then he ran it out loud. Do that and the gap between you and everyone else doesn't grow, it compounds. 5 years in, it doesn't matter what they do in one summer. They can't close 5 years in one summer. And the sessions themselves weren't glamorous. The coach who watched that morning workout expected advanced footwork in exotic moves. He got form shooting, basic footwork, junior high drills, executed with terrifying precision. When he asked why, Kobe said the line that outlived him. I never get bored with the basics. 6 times as much work as the field. All of it boring. For 20 years. That's the top of what a team sport athlete can do. Because a team sport has a season, and a season has an end. Number 5 sport doesn't. Number 5, Michael Phelps. Between the Athens Olympics and the Beijing Olympics, Phelps trained every single day. Not most days, every day. Through weekends, through birthdays, through Christmas. For 5 straight
straight years. Do the arithmetic on what that means. 80,000 meters in the water a week, 6 hours a day face down staring at a black line, in an environment where you cannot listen to music, cannot talk to anyone, cannot look at anything. Then eating 8 to 12,000 calories to stay level, which stops being a joke and becomes another chore 3 days in. He calculated that every day he took off would cost him 2 days to recover, so he stopped taking them. And then the moment that proves the whole thing was mental, not physical. Beijing 200-meter butterfly final. 25 meters in, his goggles start leaking. By the second turn, they're full. He is swimming blind in an Olympic final. Can't see the wall, can't see the field, can't see the bottom of the pool. He didn't panic because he'd already lived it. He'd spent years deliberately visualizing things going wrong, so that when they did, they arrived as a rehearsal instead of a disaster. He counted his strokes. He knew exactly how many it took. He touched the wall first and set a world record. Then he got out of the pool and was angry because he thought he should have gone half a second faster. 5 years of no days off, and the reward for a blind world record was dissatisfaction. The next 4 don't have world records to be dissatisfied about.
Number 4. Eliud Kipchoge, the greatest marathon runner in history, the only person to run 26.2 miles in under 2 hours, lives, by choice, in a dormitory. At the training camp in Kaptagat, Kipchoge sleeps in a shared room on a simple bed. There's a rota for chores. He is on it. There is documented footage of the most decorated marathoner alive taking his turn cleaning the camp's toilets, because it's his week. He's a global star with sponsorships and a family, and he chooses to spend most of the year in a bunk, away from home, running around 200 kilometers a week. And here's the counterintuitive part, the part that separates him from everyone below him on this list. He doesn't run himself into the ground. He famously trains at around 80 to 90%, almost never at maximum. He'll finish a session with something left. The discipline isn't in going harder than he can. It's in not going harder than he should, every single day, for 15 years, when every instinct in a competitor's body says push. He writes his sessions in a notebook by hand. He has said the notebooks go back decades. Restraint is the hardest form of this, but it's still a life with a structure, and a bed, and a plan. Number 3 deleted all 3. Number 3, Ross Edgley. In 2018, Edgley set out to swim around the entire coastline of Great Britain. He finished 157 days later, having covered roughly 1,780 miles. In that time, he did not touch land once. Read that again. Not he didn't sleep on land much. He did not set foot on solid ground for 5 months. He swam in 12-hour shifts around the tides. 6 hours in, sleep on the support boat. 6 hours back in, regardless of weather, regardless of dark. The body doesn't survive that intact. The salt water degraded the inside of his mouth until his tongue began to break apart. His wetsuit rubbed his neck raw so badly that friends applied glue to hold the skin. He was stung repeatedly by jellyfish. He gained weight. His body physically changed shape over 5 months of continuous immersion. He kept going. There was no crowd, no medal, no season, just the next tide, twice a day, for 157 days, while your body actively disassembles. At this point on the ladder, discipline has stopped meaning good habits. It means the ability to keep making one decision while the thing making it falls apart. Number 2 made that decision for longer than anyone thought a body could. Number 2, Yiannis Kouros. Most people have never heard his name, which is exactly why he belongs here. Kouros ran 303 kilometers in 24 hours. That's 188 miles, roughly 7 marathons back-to-back in one day without stopping. He set records across 24-hour, 48-hour, and multi-day distances, and some of them stood untouched for over 30 years. Not were hard to beat, nobody came close. The 48-hour and 6-day events are where it gets strange. Past a certain point, the sleep deprivation is total. Runners hallucinate, their feet swell out of their shoes, their digestion shuts down. Kouros described the later horrors as somewhere the mind goes that isn't really available in ordinary life, a place where the body has finished its argument and lost, and something else keeps the legs moving. He didn't have a modern sports science team. He had a track, a lap counter, and days. Every single person we've talked about so far had an endpoint, a final whistle, a finish line, a coastline. Kouros' whole event is the not stopping, which brings us to the top of the ladder and to something that isn't a sport at all.
Number 1, the Marathon Monks of Mount Hiei. At the top are the Marathon Monks of Mount Hiei, Tendai Buddhists who undertake the 7-year Taihogyo. They walk mountain circuits for hundreds of consecutive days, often at night in straw sandals, with distances eventually reaching about 84 kilometers a day. The challenge is less about competition and more about devotion, repetition, and endurance. In the 5th year comes Doiri, 9 days without food, water, sleep, or lying down, while continuously chanting under supervision. Fewer than 50 people are recorded as completing the 1,000-day journey in 4 centuries. There is no medal, sponsor, crowd, or record. That is the point.